This is a demonstration for how to do Zazen. Za means seated, and Zen means Zen. Zazen, or another word is meditation. And Zazen is a particular kind of meditation. The first thing that we need to come to Zazen with is a curious and open mind. It's similar to the mind of a scientist. Just as a scientist goes out and investigates the world, whether it's with a telescope or a microscope, in the same way, when we meditate, we're investigating our subjective experience, what's actually happening, what we're experiencing with our senses, what we're feeling in our body, whatever sensations are arising and falling away, whatever thoughts are coming and going in our mind. And we're looking at our mind and body with an openness, with curiosity, and most importantly, with non-judgmental awareness. So we're not judging what our experience is, we're simply observing what it is. So there's three things that we want to regulate. And the Chinese character for regulate has to do with the ability to circulate something. So the three things we're regulating are body, breath, and mind. So we'll start with the body. We want to have to regulate or allow the full circulation of energy. We need to have the appropriate posture. The appropriate posture will differ from person to person. So it's impossible. I can share with you now several postures to use, but what is appropriate for your body will be unique to you. And your posture, your body needs to be tailored to an appropriate posture for meditation. And it's helpful, this is a guide, and it's also helpful to verify what works for you by working with a teacher. First thing is how we use our legs. There's two ways to sit in meditation. One is by sitting on the floor. The other is by sitting in a chair. When most people think of meditation, they think of the way I'm sitting right now on the floor. But you can also do this sitting in a chair. And if you're sitting in a chair, then to sit with both feet flat on the floor and your bottom away from the back of the chair so that you're not supporting your back with the chair. However, if you have serious back problems and it's very difficult to maintain an upright posture, then using the back of the chair is also okay. Sitting on the floor requires more explanation, especially for the legs. So there's several ways we can have our leg position. One is parallel to each other. This is called Burmese. And ideally, we want our heels lined up. And that requires that our knees are put in a wide stance, like so. You can also put one foot on the calf, like so. You can have the foot inserted in between the calf and the thigh. You can do this on one side or the other. And determining which side is best for you takes your practice and experience. If you have good hip flexibility, you can put one foot on top of the opposite thigh, like so. Or you can try it the other way. And if you really have flexibility, you can put both feet up on your thighs, like so, in what's called a full lotus posture. I don't recommend the full lotus posture for anybody just starting out. I don't recommend half lotus posture for anybody starting out. because most of us, especially in the West, our hips are not flexible enough to support this for any length of time. It helps to have a yoga practice if you have the aim to sit in a full or half lotus position, but this is not necessary if you want to meditate. What's necessary is to find a posture that works best for you, and it's fine if you want to sit in a chair. It's fine if you have your legs crossed like this. Another possibility is to have the feet underneath the buttocks, have a cushion turned on one end, put in between the legs, and sit down on the cushion like so. And for many people, this is a very comfortable posture that they can sustain over a good length of time. What's more important is that our hips are higher than our knees. To do that, we want to sit on the front third of the cushion rather than right on top of it. Sitting on the front third of the cushion helps to tilt the pelvis just slightly forward and has the hips above the knees. So the knees should be lower than the hips, and both knees should be on the ground. And that helps to keep the abdomen free and open for breathing, making breathing most efficient and effective. Of equal importance is the proper alignment of the spine. And this is crucial whether sitting on the floor or sitting in a chair, how we hold our spine. Ears, shoulders, and hips should be in alignment. Nose and navel in alignment. So that we're not sitting too far forward like we often do, whether we're reading a book, typing on a computer, driving a car, or we're not sitting too far back when we're relaxing on a sofa. But finding that middle place. We also don't want to be leaning too far one way or the other. We have, on our behind, we've got two what's called sit bones. And we want to have the weight of the body, of the torso, equally distributed on both of those sit bones. So we can feel the weight of the torso as gravity pulls us down into the earth. And at the same time, when we're sitting properly, it takes very little effort to keep the spine upright. However, when we first start to practice meditation, we may find that that is not the case. And we may be struggling a lot with pain in the back, pain in the legs. That's normal. And give it time and practice, and those things should clear up, especially if we're sitting properly and have good guidance. The chin should be slightly tucked, the nape of the neck slightly raised, the eyes lowered at a 45-degree angle to the floor. We should be looking maybe about 3 feet in front of us. And the eyes have a soft focus. It's good to, when we first start meditating, to sit without our glasses on if we have glasses. Because the vision will be a little bit blurred, and that's actually helpful, especially because in Zen meditation, we're keeping our eyes open rather than closed. And with open eyes, we want to have a soft focus. That means we should be able to see what's in the periphery of the vision. If you hold up 2 fingers to either side of the face, you should have a sense of those 2 fingers in your field of vision. And that helps us to maintain a soft focus, as opposed to keeping the eyes focused on one point. And that's a different kind of practice. So keeping the eyes with a soft focus also has the added benefit of relaxing the whole body. When the eyes have a soft focus, the mind will naturally follow suit and relax. So you can experiment with this on your own, developing curiosity about how your body works. So this is how we comport the body. The last thing we do is have our hands in a mudra. So this is called the cosmic mudra. The right hand takes the base, the left hand goes over top, and the thumb tips are just lightly touching. We make the shape of a half moon with our hands. And the lightly touching of the thumbs is a kind of gauge. It helps us to gauge whether our attention is too focused or too relaxed. If the attention is too focused, then our thumb tips will press together tightly, and that's showing us that we're trying too hard. If our thumb tips separate, it means we're probably sleepy and our attention is not focused or engaged enough. So we want to find that spot where our thumbs are just lightly touching, and that gives us a sense of where we are in our mind. The shoulders remain relaxed. The pinkies are at the abdomen, touching the abdomen. Some people prefer to hold the hands up higher at the tanden, which is 2 finger widths below the navel, about right here. And others prefer to have the hands in the lap. Again, this is something that needs to be tailored to the individual. And when we sit in the proper posture, the body is regulated properly. So the next part is breath and breathing. How do we breathe properly? We want to focus our attention gently on the breath without judging it as bad or good. We simply allow the breath to breathe itself. There's no special technique. It's a natural breath. And the longer that we sit in meditation, the more the breath becomes longer. And that happens of its own accord. When the body begins to settle and relax into the meditation posture, the breath will follow suit. That's why we begin with the body, proper alignment. Proper alignment of the body leads to proper alignment of the breath. Following the breath, we focus, letting it come in of its own accord, and letting it go out. Follow the breath all the way to the end. Notice what happens at the end of the exhalation, and pay particular attention to the pause in the exhalation and then the subsequent inhalation. For the mind, we notice our thoughts. We allow them to come and we allow them to go. Like clouds in the sky, we don't hold on to the good ones. We don't try to push away the bad ones. We simply watch the thoughts with non-judgmental awareness. Thoughts cycle in and cycle out. When our body is in an appropriate posture, the thinking thoughts that come up will neither be too excessive, nor will they stop. We'll just notice them. It's no big deal having thoughts. We don't try to stop our thoughts or our thinking in Zen meditation. We simply allow the thoughts to arise and let go of them. Keeping the mind anchored in the breath helps us to do that, and also having an awareness of the body. When we start out meditating, it may be helpful to count the breaths. We can count the breaths from 1 to 10, and then start all over at 1. On each exhalation, we bring in the number, counting, of course, to ourselves. We would say something to the equivalent 1 on the exhalation. And then inhale, exhale 2. Follow the exhalation all the way out. Inhale. Exhale 3. Etc. in that way. And when you count up to 10, you go back to 1. There's no number that we're trying to reach. It's only for the purpose of focusing our mind. You can also just simply say the word on the in-breath, you can say the word in to yourself. On the out-breath, out. In, out. Just like that. So these are 2 methods we can use to keep our focus attentive and on the breath. What we need to do in meditation depends on the present state of our mind. And when the mind is scattered and unfocused, it's helpful to focus on the breath. However, if the mind is quite anxious, it's good to bring the attention down into the tanden, that area just below the navel, and focus it there. See how the breath, the abdomen rises and falls. And just stay with that. This is the introduction to Zen meditation. Thank you.